In 2016, we went out to Mexico. I was unwell while we were in Mexico, dehydrated, drinking a lot whilst in the sun, whilst also walking around a lot. It doesn't mix well. But when we came back, within 2 weeks, I had a full breakdown. My mum was fighting ovarian cancer, and I was doing a lot for mum and dad with driving around and doing those kind of things. But I was masking a lot of stuff with the alcohol, as well as the 3 different medications for stress, anxiety and depression. And that had led to me being in a really bad spot, me being carted off to the Fermor unit to see whether they were going to section me. They didn't section me. They recommended some CBT therapy, and that was that. And I had a period of time off work, then went back to work because that wasn't helping me. Actually having time off work wasn't helping me. I then had a falling out whilst at a do it was at Mason's Ball. I'd been invited because my father-in-law was head of the house, and at that point I blacked out due to the drinking. I woke up on the phone to a friend, and the day after, when he took me home, I watched a video which enlightened me on some of the stuff that I was going through, because I was too busy trying to control everybody and everything around me and trying to change that, instead of looking at what I needed to do and what I wanted to achieve. So I started, that made me realise that I needed to make some changes. So needed to lose some weight, needed to stop drinking, needed to stop smoking, needed to kind of look at all the bad habits, the stuff that was moving things in the wrong direction. So did a little bit of work on that. Joined the local gym, that was council run, I shifted a little bit of weight, but it wasn't masses, and it wasn't achieving a great deal. I then went from that to a running group in 2018, joined that. A couple of months later, my mum passed away, but I'd already started to see a bigger improvement in my mindset and what I was doing. So that led to me running a number of 10Ks. No, I never got to a marathon, never got to a half marathon. Because within sort of 7-8 months of doing that, there was a few guys there with bikes. I joined to do stuff with them, and I started to see bigger and better improvements in myself. Then COVID hit, and that gave me more time to spend with the bike and with running and my gym set up. And then when we came out of COVID, I changed jobs during COVID, and by that point I'd lost probably a couple of stone, but felt better, felt more energised. I had given up a lot of the drinking. I still drink, but I just don't. I was drinking a bottle and a half of wine a night. I probably don't even drink that a month now. I don't smoke. So by the time we'd finished COVID, I had given up smoking, given up vaping, and was really kind of living a healthier lifestyle. So I then wanted to go next stage, and so I found a PT at the local gym to work. That really didn't work. I needed to have things more planned. I needed to have more structure, not a PT session a month and then just do the same thing 4 times a week. I needed more drive, more facilitating, and actually I was overtraining because I was training morning and night, and I wasn't seeing any improvement. Spoke to a guy through one of the networking groups that I was involved in, and I trained with him for over a year, but it was very much more strongman, and I didn't gain weight, but I wasn't shrinking, I wasn't getting any smaller. And my knowledge from being on the bike, the first thing was I need to be narrower. A big back was never going to help me, other than catching the wind when it was on my back. When you're a cyclist, the wind's never on your back, never ever on your back. But one of the things I did achieve was 2 years ago was actually being able to be off of all the medication, which at 42 years old and literally spending 25 years of my life medicated was huge. And being part of that running group, the support I had from them was immense. But once I'd removed that from my life, it was then what's next and how do we go further and get better. And that's when, so 18 months or so ago, was the first time I met Ryan and Nick from Unstoppabl, and we had a few conversations. And 9 months ago, after spending 4 or 5 months trying to train myself, it was quite noticeable I needed to make a change and actually get that right, and hit it off with Ryan as well as Nick, but really with Ryan with understanding the sports side of things and the nutrition. And it's the best part of 2 stone that I've lost in 9 months. But, to go through the stats, all the stats, that it's been 6 inches off my chest, it's 4 inches off my waist, it's gaining, nearly 50 watts on my FTP, functional threshold power for those that don't know, and just being able to actually see a bigger return on the investment that I've made into myself. Having a new wife who, she's not a new wife, she's been married to her now for 10 years, but for her to have a completely different version of me, for us to have our little girl, and for me to be able to be a proper dad. And then the biggest thing I think was only a few weeks ago for my wife to turn around to me and go, "You're really good with her." That really touched me, because I've apologised to all 3 of my other kids because I knew that I wasn't present. But that has meant a lot to me. And that comes down to the work that I've done now. It does go back to some of the work I've done with the other people as well. There's a lot of people that have helped over that time. But I don't overtrain. I don't train as much as I was, but I get bigger results because it's not just training. It's been the nutrition, it's been sleep, it's been the mindset stuff. It's been all of that together, which you really don't get with lots of other people. And for me, because I've always got that constant want to improve, it's been great having the conversations about the extra 1%. What can we do to get the next 1%? What's next? I think as what is next is first off getting that sub 5.5 hour 100. That's first. What's next? I'm looking at different rides. So I've looked at the Lincoln 262. I've looked at Coast to Coast is back on the roadmap, so it's there. There's Land's End to John O'Groats in a couple of years. The North to South in Portugal. Yes, these are all cycling events, but it's about being out, go and do them. I need a big challenge. I have to have that big challenge, that big end goal. So taking away all the work stuff and everything else, for me now it's about going physical aesthetics, physical performance. They're the only 2 things that I want to be able to really kind of lock in and go for outside of growing the business and doing that kind of stuff. Life is awesome right now. It really is. I have struggles, everyone has struggles, but I don't have them like I used to. And I now have someone that I can talk to about those kind of things as well, which I think has been huge.